California right now. Yeah, I'm in
So,
Cali right now. I'm doing great. I'm excited about the conversation.
yeah, feeling is mutual. So, my first question to you is talking about Batwoman. I mean, we've had 3 seasons until now, and it has received quite a mixed response from fans, from DC fans in particular. So, beginning from talking about your role, how did that come along? And you play Marquis Jet in the series. How did
Yes.
that role come along? And how did you prepare yourself for the role?
It came about through a regular audition. I had a self-tape as Marcus Jet back in July of 2021. And it pretty much happened like any other audition. You know, I just prepared as I normally would. I was excited because it was my first DC audition. I didn't expect the role to transform into what it did. I just saw it as a regular character who was probably going to cause some trouble. I knew that he was going to be related to Ryan, who is a Batwoman, but I had no clue he was going to turn into the Joker. So I prepared differently for the audition than I did for the actual role itself once I found out that he was going to be turning into their version of the Joker. And once I got the news that I would be getting the transformation into the Joker, then I started doing, a little refresher on all the actors that had played the Joker in the past, how they did it and how I wanted to make it my own.
Yeah, which actually brings me to a question that, I mean, there have been some wonderful portrayals of the Joker in the past, right? I mean, we've seen Heath Ledger, we've seen Joaquin Phoenix, we've seen a lot of beautiful portrayals. So, how did that affect in your preparation? I mean, considering that there have been such wonderful portrayals of the same character, how did that help you in preparing yourself, and how much did those performances influence your preparation and your towards your role?
Well, it helped me by realizing that each of those performances were very different. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is nothing like Jared Leto. Jared Leto's is nothing like Heath Ledger. So I got to see that everybody that did it, there was a thread of, insanity throughout all of them, but they all did their own thing. So I was very comfortable knowing that this would be my own version. It's going to be nothing like any other actor that had done it before. There would be that same thread of insanity. Like, fans have been able to say, Marcus Jet seems really crazy, Nick is scaring me, things like that. So that's always enjoyable to hear when that's your goal. And other than that, they influenced me in the sense of just putting my own spin on it and going as far with it as I could.
So, talking about being the first person of color playing the role, how did that come along, and how was the response of people, and how did you take it?
I take it as an honor. I mean, it's amazing to be attached to history. Sidney Poitier was the first Black man to win an Oscar, and every actor that I know, that I've always known, including people in my own family that are not actors, they've always reminded me of, the legacy and the lineage of starting where Sidney started. So being able to be the first person of color as the Joker, it's really incredible. It shows how far we're going with representation and that it really does matter. And there is nothing that you can't do as an artist. There are doors that are being broken, and with this will come other people that get to play other characters in DC. I mean, Batwoman is a Black woman. This was the first time Poison Ivy was portrayed by an Asian woman. So I take it in stride, and I think it's an amazing opportunity. And fans have been seeming to really be proud of that and like that. And the responses have been great.
Yeah, I mean, your chemistry, talking about, you just said that a person of, someone who's Asian is playing Poison Ivy for the first time. So your chemistry with Nicole Kang has been really nice throughout the show.
Oh, yeah.
How do you define that? Like, just being a co-star with Nicole Kang, and how exactly your chemistry with her came along?
Oh, Nicole is incredible. Nicole and I are very close friends. She was actually one of the first people I got to connect with before I got to Vancouver to start shooting it, because my manager was friends with her. So we connected really quickly. And when I got out there, we didn't know when we would be working together or if we would be working together in scenes, but she knew that she was going to be turning into Poison Ivy. So we just had this dream of being able to like work together and like cause havoc together on Gotham. And we actually did get to do that. So working with Nicole was incredible. I hang out with her all the time, offset as well. And that's pretty much the theme it's been for every other actor on the show. I mean, I've built friendships with everybody, and we're pretty much like a family. We do things together when we're not acting. So yeah, all of the chemistry that you see on screen is a result from friendship off of screen.
So, I mean, Ruby Rose left the show in between after the second season, after I think 16 episodes. How much do you think that affected the show overall, having a new Batwoman, a new person cast as Batwoman, now that Javisha Leslie is playing the role? So that difference, how much do you think that difference in the titular character, the change in the titular character who's playing the role, that have really affected the show?
I've only seen positive aspects of where the show is right now, so I really can't speak to what the past was and how the transition was, just because I came on at season 3. But in terms of the energy that's on set right now, season 3, I've seen no forms of negativity or anything from the past. So it must have just been able to be adopted for the greater good of everything. You know, the energy on set is incredible. It's one of the best sets I've worked on personally. And again, I really think that comes down to the people that are calling the shots of who they're hiring on set. You know, everybody from the stunt crew to the camera people to the lighting people, and then the actors were all pretty much a family. And you know, Javicia is doing an amazing job as Batwoman. So I think that just speaks to the whole vibe of everybody together.
And like, where do you see Batwoman in the grander scheme of things when we talk about the Arrowverse and all the crossovers that take place?
Batwoman is a very important franchise. You know, I think you could see that from the crossover that recently happened with the Flash Armageddon.
Yep.
So yeah, no, Batwoman I think is very important in the Arrowverse. It has a strong fan base, and you know, we're excited to continue. And the fans have been loving this season. I've been loving seeing the responses about how much season 3 means to them, and especially the fact that they're bringing back iconic villains and different characters, which people have a lot to look forward to because there are still some episodes left in this season. And yeah, I think the Arrowverse, it's a great place. I mean, fans have been following it for years, so Batwoman is just being able to add to that.
And how much do you like these new shows which are being added to the Arrowverse now? How much do you think this overall expansion, bringing in more new characters, how much do you think that is shaping DC TV in a way?
Well, I think it's allowing for more fans to come into the fold. You know, one of the challenges I think with television sometimes is fans are so used to superhero movies, and when they watch TV, they don't get to see some of those favorite characters because of rights and licenses. So the fact that Batwoman is bringing back, you know, characters like Poison Ivy and versions of the Joker, that just speaks to the fans that have been missing out on that from television. So I think it just adds to value for DC TV.
All the previous actors, or rather most of them, they've revealed earlier that, you know, preparing for someone like Joker has taken a mental toll on them sometimes. Do you also feel the same, that preparing for someone like Joker, it affects you mentally in a way to be that insane in playing that role?
For me, I've been able to figure out how to use this role as an outlet to kind of release any pent up energy. And, when I think about dark times in my life or whatever I need to channel to be able to do certain scenes as this character, I am able to get out of them easily. I can't speak for other actors, but, I think a lot of it has to deal with, I meditate. I pray. I have a therapist, so I do a lot of self work. I like to work out. I like to exercise. I go on hikes. So I think all of that aids to the fact of I'm not just sitting down with my thoughts after I'm done working. I put all of this energy into the role on set, and then anything I have left over, I expel outdoors, whether it be through nature or working out.
Moving away from Batwoman for a second, was acting always the option one for you, or there was a plan B involved?
Well, I started out as a journalist. I used to be a sports journalist. Yeah. So I interviewed people for a living like this. And,
wow, it's like if I could trade lives now. You're giving me hope, Nick. You're giving me a lot of hope.
So yeah, after I decided that I wanted to go into acting, I pretty much, acting was my plan A, B, I guess you could say. And now I'm pretty much like, being that I transitioned from journalism to acting, I'm pretty much at the point where there is no plan B. If I just decided to do something else in life later, if I decided to transition into something else, that would just be my plan AC. So I feel like we all have different interests and passions at different times in our life. And right now, acting has to be it. I don't see it changing anytime soon. But if it does, then I would just realize that, okay, this was great for the time being. Now I'm going to try this.
But I think it's turning out wonderful for you right until now. And I hope that it turns out better with the time.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So talking about, again, coming back to Batwoman, who is the most fun working on set? Whom did you enjoy working the most with?
Well, my favorite scene that's coming up in episode 12 was with Rachel, who plays Alice. I think that was a lot of fun just because we're very similar in terms of our characters are very out there. So that was one of the best scenes that I think I was able to do. So that was a lot of fun. But I've equally had fun scenes with Javicia, especially in episode 13, the season finale. Cameras and I had some fun on set. Like, we joke around a lot whenever the cameras aren't rolling. So there were some cool blooper moments. And Nicole and I, like that dance scene, that was incredible too. So, I mean, I've had awesome moments with pretty much everybody on the cast. But the Rachel scene that's coming up in episode 12 with Marcus and Alice, that was probably my favorite scene.
So talking about the future of Batwoman, how much do you think, now it's been like 3 seasons, how much do you think longevity, like we have Flash, it's been running since like 9 seasons now. How much do you think longevity matters in superhero shows that are airing on the television? And in terms of just losing interest, because sometimes it happens that a show is doing really well in the sophomore season, but somehow it loses interest as it moves on. So how much do you think longevity is a matter of interest?
I think, that just depends from show to show. And we're seeing increasingly more that TV is changing always. Miniseries are popping up. Sometimes shows are only 1 season and they have a huge impact. Sometimes shows are 8 seasons and fans need those 8 seasons for the impact. So I think it just really depends from project to project. I don't think there's a singular answer for that.
And the pandemic came in between. Did pandemic affect the overall, how did it affect the show while it was going on? Did it affect the filming or something?
The pandemic definitely affected every show in Hollywood. This was the first time we had to get tested as a cast and crew, like pretty much every other day for COVID, wearing masks on set, just not being able to fully be with each other the same way that we were in 2019. So, there were definitely effects to the show overall, but I think we did a great job on a whole as actors and crew all over the place of just adjusting and knowing that this is just a way of life right now and we just have to kind of roll with it.
So there's also been some backlash about your portrayal of Joker. And how do you deal with that? And how do you deal with the entire backlash about the show itself as well? Because Batwoman has faced a bit of backlash in the recent past.
I don't really pay attention.
As you already mentioned, the third season is doing pretty well, but yeah, overall it has faced some backlash. So how would you deal with that? And
I really don't.
Deal with that?
I really don't deal with it other than not paying attention to the comments. I don't read negative comments. There's so much love and so much admiration for the show, and especially what I've gotten personally from my character. So if there's a negative comment, it's kind of just like it doesn't matter to me. I don't know. That's my take on it. I don't let negativity affect where I'm at because in my opinion, I'm pretty much living my dreams out. So I have nothing bad to say about anybody that has said anything negative. And in my opinion, you only fuel negativity when you pay attention to it. So I just pretty much focus on the love.
That's amazing to hear. It's 2022 and I'm starting to hate the word positivity for a reason, but this was quite positive to hear and nice. Okay, in the long run of things, any other ongoing projects of yours that you're working on apart from that?
I have a film coming out this year. It's called Good Egg. It's an adventure comedy film. And that's going to be really incredible. Nicole Gomez Fisher directed it. Yara Martinez is starring in it, along with Joel Johnstone and Andrea Lundo and myself. So we had a lot of fun filming that in New York City. It was cool to film a project at home. And that's my first feature film that's going to be coming out. So be on the lookout for that this year.
Do you think that with the advent of OTT platforms like Netflix and now Amazon Prime, now we have HBO Max, where we have movies which also had a theatrical release like Dune, and it also released on the platform. So do you think that post-pandemic, these platforms are the way ahead, or people are going to flock back to theaters when things get better?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think like everything else, the world is changing. The industry is changing. I think there are people like myself who still love going to the theater and experiencing, just everything about being in a room, watching something on the big screen. I'm always going to go to the movie theater as long as they have them. But like anything else, you never know what the future holds with those things. So I do love Netflix and Hulu, but I also love going outside and actually getting that real movie experience.
So how are things in the States right now? Are things starting to open up?
Everything's pretty open right now, but we still have the typical COVID restrictions, vaccine mandates in certain restaurants and places. But I think everyone has done as good of a job as they can with adjusting to it and knowing that that's just how things are. But, hopefully they don't last this way forever. Hopefully we get to adjust back to somewhat of a normal life, if that exists.
I mean, I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, mentally, I'm still stuck in 2019. So, I think it's just not me. I think it's a lot of people.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I've heard that before too.
So, I mean, asking the Joker himself, if there was any one more comic book character, not necessarily from DC, if we consider Marvel as well, that you would like to portray on the big screen, what would it be like? Like, who would be?
I think playing Wolverine would be really, really awesome. Like I'd be able to get into some like crazy Hugh Jackman shape and be able to play that. I think the Hulk could be an interesting character as well. It's a super big transformation going from a scientist to this huge guy. And outside of that, I feel like there's some Star Wars characters that could be cool as well. You know, Luke Skywalker, I think, is always a cool character to every kid growing up. So that's another character that I wouldn't mind portraying.
Now, we have Disney Plus, which is bringing a lot of good quality. I think if you watch the Marvel shows on Disney Plus, it has the same cinematic quality as we see in the movies. Something that DC somewhere lacks in its shows. But do you think in the future DC might really catch up to that, and we have the same quality in the shows as well, and also amalgamating the two universes together, the one that's running on the streaming service.
Wait,
and
could you repeat the question?
Yeah, the question is that as Marvel is it's amalgamating their universes across Disney Plus and the cinematic universe as we know at the MCU. So do you think that happening in DC as well in the future? Can DC amalgamate their TV universe with the bigger screen?
I don't see why that wouldn't happen eventually. I think being that you're seeing some characters that have done some overlap with film and TV now, especially like Poison Ivy. You haven't seen a portrayal of Poison Ivy since Uma Thurman in the film. So yeah, I think that's exactly what's happening right now. We're seeing that happen on TV as well. So yeah.
Okay, my last question to you, Nick, because we're running out of time, and I already saw a message on the chat. One director you'd love to work with?
I would love to work with Martin Scorsese. He's one of my favorite directors.
I don't know why I had that answer in my mind before you said it. I don't know why, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think this was it. All the questions I had regarding the show were pretty much covered up. So yeah, thank you so much again for being on Animated Times. And I wish you all the best for the portrayal of Joker and the show as well.
Thank you very much, Vasu. I appreciate it.
And I hope you had a good time. And I was a good host.
This was great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nick. It was great to have you.
Thanks.